welcome back. Just getting my camera nice and set up. Oh, I've lost the, excuse me, yep, I think I'm good. Hopefully you're all okay. I hope as many of you as possible join this live. It nearly never happened. I was actually in the town centre having coffee when I posted that I'm going to go live, and time was ticking on and started bouncing down with rain. So I had to sort of get home. My phone was on. My phone was on about 19% as well, so everything seemed to go against me, but I'm grateful to be here. So I'm just starting off with a nice sky. You'll have to excuse my voice. I seem to have a little coughing fit just then, so I'm hoping that it doesn't come back, that I can do this without coughing all over yours. So I hope you're well. Hope everyone's doing okay. This is just a light wash. I'm using indigo for this so far. And I'm going to pop in some yellow ochre as well. I do like putting yellow ochre in the sky. Just gives it that little bit of warmth. And you can see it's just mixed a little bit with the indigo. So it's not quite yellow ochre, it's more of a grey tone, I suppose. Just don't want to get that green. So far it's okay. And then I'm just going to go in with plenty of water. I'm going to try and pull this pigment down. So I'm just using just clean water and then touching some of that pigment and bringing it down, mixing, letting it soften as it gets those, as I get water on those little areas. You get these nice little soft edges, and that's what you want in a sky. You want plenty of soft edges for the sky, clouds, that sort of thing. And I'm happy to sort of leave this little bits of white as well popping through, just to highlight, just to give some highlight to the cloud area. I'm a little bit snotty today, if you do excuse me, but yeah. I think when I rush around, that's when it affects me the most. I have these coughing fits, and I've been fine up until this morning, just rushing around. I've also got to pop into town as well after this, try and it's my wife's birthday today, so I need to pop in and get a card and some chocolates for her as well. So yeah, I'm working on a little bit of a tight schedule, and it's not my sort of thing. I don't like rushing things. I'm one of those people who likes to sort of get up early, even though if there's nothing scheduled. I do like to get up early and sort of meet the day and tackle it head on, nice and early. I just don't like rushing around. That's not my style. I really don't like doing that. So I'm trying to relax as I get into this painting. And I think that's the best way to, best frame of mind or best sort of mood to approach anything you may paint. And by the way, I've not got anything particular in mind. I know I said I wanted to just get back to what I like to do, and that's painting mountains, that sort of thing. I do enjoy just popping in some nice mountains into my scenes. It's something that I find quite natural. It's something that I do enjoy doing. So as you can see, I'm doing that here now, and because I've got a bit of white in the middle here, I'm thinking we can make this into a little river, some sort of water coming through the scene, which is always quite nice to do with these mountainscapes. Now, because the paper's wet, I did put down some water first, if you saw that. I do have some soft edges on these mountains, which is perfect. I do like that. And what we can do just to make the most of that is I do have my card just to hand, and this is just a little bit of a credit card, an old credit card that I split up, broke up, and I'm just going to add a few little textured highlights. Not too many, just a few here and there, and you can see what happens when you scrape that bit of mountain using the card. It just takes off a little layer of that pigment, and so you're left with these highlights, which I do encourage you to do. I do enjoy doing this in my watercolor paintings, especially with mountains. It just adds a nice interest to the scene and gives you some to the painting. So this is quite in the distance. You can see it's quite faded, and in watercolor what you want to do is try and get your lighter tones down first. So your first wash is all about covering the paper. This is a £140 rough paper. It's Fabriano Artistico, which is a super paper to use. Hi Bugsy, how are you doing? Thanks for joining, welcome. I don't think I've seen you on my lives before, so I'm grateful to have you here. Thanks for joining. Hopefully you give me a thumbs up and stay for as long as you can if you're still here. People, I know with live streams it's people pop in and out, and that's absolutely fine. It's just nice to get people on. Still trying to gauge the best time to get people on. Obviously with the time zones it can be quite difficult for certain people to join. So yeah, it is what it is, and it's no big deal. But I do appreciate when you pop in and say hello. I do love reading those comments. So I'm going to go in with another layer of mountains in this bottom part of the paper. And I am mindful that I've got a bit of water here, so I'm just thinking, as I'm painting, I'm just making decisions sort of on the spot. This is a made-up scene. I do like these made-up scenes. You don't have to. I do enjoy also using references as well when I'm painting. Sometimes I may get stuck knowing what to paint, but I think the joys of having a mobile phone with lots of pictures on, I can always look into that and just select a few images and get pen to paper as I do. I do enjoy that, so there's nothing wrong. Each to their own, but I do like doing these made-up scenes. We don't have any mountains very close to us, so I do often do this sort of painting scenes that I just make up, and there's no pressure that way. There's no pressure, and nobody can tell you, oh, that's wrong or that's right. You decide what you want in the scene. It's absolutely fine. So I'm just popping a little bit of that indigo now into that brown. By the way, this is probably a Van Dyke brown. Any brown will do, but I'm using my White Nights palette. I've used it quite a few times. I just use whatever palette I've been using. Sometimes I switch it up using either my Schmincke Horridon paints or Winsor & Newton, which are all really good paints. But this is really good paint if you can get it in the country that you're watching from. These White Knights, they're a Russian brand, St. Petersburg, and they are really, really nice pigmented colours. They also have the advantage of all the transparency as well. Excuse the sniffles. So yeah, so I've got this nice little second layer, I suppose, in this little scene, and I do want a few little rock marks here, little highlights, should I say, and I'll show you what I do. Once I've got these highlights in, that's when it gets really fun, because I do love doing these. You can use any sort of thing, any card or anything flat. I know I've used before now some, what do you call them? Some of my palette knives, that's the one. I've not painted oils for quite some time. I'm forgetting what they're called. Yeah, so the palette knives are really good for this, just scraping out. You just want a straight surface edge. And excuse me, I'm just going to take out, because I've got tape on there, I don't want the paint to start bleeding back into the painting. So I'm just taking off the excess as it comes down onto the tape. And so yeah, I'm quite happy with this so far, and now I've just got to decide what sort of things I want to do in this scene. I think I can take some of these highlights on the further out sort of mountains, and I'm just going to do that by just adding some clean water, cleanish, and just dulling those a little bit. I don't want them too stark because they're in the background, and you can do this with any highlights if you're not happy with them or if they're too much. It's sometimes it's a really nice technique, and sometimes you don't want to overdo those highlights, so it's good to sort of knock them back like this. You can cover them, you can go over them, whatever you want to do. So it's all good. Now I need to get some of that sky colour into this water just as a reflection, but I think I'm gonna just leave this a little bit to dry, because I think if I start messing with this I'll get a bit of a mess. And so what it's good to do now is just add some details to the rocks, which I've added the highlights. I'm just having a cup of tea as well. So for the highlights, you want to go in and just to make these highlights stand out and to pop, you just want to go in with a darker tone underneath these highlights, and you'll see what I mean. If you've been on my channel before, you've seen me do this sort of thing, and it really is nice and fun to do, and it does give that realistic look to your painting, and it is a really simple technique. Whether you're a learner, if you've not done this before, I do recommend trying it. You'll be quite surprised. I guarantee you'll be quite surprised at the results that you may get. Just a simple technique like this. Can you see how that has an effect? Excuse me. Can you see how that has an effect on the painting? How nice it looks. I'll do this a little bit on this side as well, closer to the camera without moving it and making it bounce up and down. So just little bits here and there, and it does make that highlight really pop, if you can see that. And let's just add a little bit to this one. Like I said, sometimes in watercolor less is more. So I haven't got too many highlights, just a few to give this nice, it gives your eye, it leads your eye into the painting. That's what I was trying to say. So it leads your eye in, and I like a simple sky. So that, I mean, I could leave that, or I could add some more darker tones into it. But I think it's quite aesthetically pleasing. I want a simple one today because I do have quite a few things to do, and I'm beginning to relax now. So that's the way you want to start your paintings, in this nice relaxed mood. You don't want to come in stressed out because it may affect the overall painting. It's nice to relax and just enjoy the brush strokes, and just take your time and just enjoy the whole process. And I think sometimes it's about confidence. And I know I've had a comment about thin and thick paints, knowing when to go in with a thicker paint, but I think to start off you want to get all your lighter colours down. Like I said in the beginning, you're working from light to dark. So obviously you got your highlights if you want highlights in the scene. You can see these little bits of cloud. I'm just happy to leave those white. But then you've got your lighter tones down first, and then you can go in and layer once those are dry. Unless you want a nice soft mix of colours, you can blend those colours. Like when I put the yellow ochre down in the sky, it just allowed that to mix and get these soft colours, just as it graduates to the blue and grey, as it graduates to the yellow ochre, it just gives that nice soft colour blend, which I am a fan of. And then once you've got those first washes down, you can do as many as you want, by the way. There's no right or wrong. But once you've got those light washes down, you're moving towards the front of the scene, so you're coming forward in the scene now, and then you can go in with these darker tones, which is really fun. Which is really fun. So if you do struggle with, you just take your time. You can really accentuate those darks, and that's something that I'm aware of. In a lot of my paintings, I don't go dark enough. It's almost like, and I do apologise if you've heard me say this before, I do sort of rant on about it, but I do usually, I've got a bad habit of finishing the painting prematurely when I can see afterwards. It's normally afterwards you can see that you could have really carried on and got more darks in the painting, and it's when you put these darks in that the painting really does pop, and you don't have to worry about these ugly stages, because that happens. I think that happens to most people who paint. You go through these different stages, you're thinking, what the flipping heck is going on? It looks like my my son or my children's have done this. So yeah, don't worry about the messy stage. All you've got to do is just keep going and make it. You can focus your attention on something in the painting and make that work. Sometimes that might be maybe a pen, a drawing pen, just add a little bit of ink in there just to define a few things and make that work. But yeah, just keep going. And by the way, you can see I'm using a fairly small brush now, because I've got the main elements of this painting down, so I'm just adding these little details now, and normally I would say it's fussing, but don't forget the paper's still a little bit wet, so I don't want to go in and disturb those little parts, and so I'm just making most of that now. I don't seem to see. Let me just get my liner brush, which I've left somewhere else. It's hard sometimes when you're painting so often. You don't want to pack all your things away. I've got it. You don't want to pack your things completely away because you know you're going to be using them the day after or something like that. So sometimes I leave my stuff out with the annoyance of everyone in the family. But I'm just using the liner brush now to get some fine details. And this is, by the way, number 2 liner brush. Let me move the camera just a little bit. Thanks for the like, by the way. It's quite quiet online today, which is usually the way. I wish I could get on sometimes late, and I have done. Painted at like midnight just to get as many people, as many eyeballs on my live as possible. But I do appreciate that wherever you are in the world, it could be silly o'clock, but it is a good time for me to be painting. Everyone's in school, in work, and all that sort of thing, so it works for me, but unfortunately it's not a good time on the whole. I think a lot of my audience, a lot of people that join are from the States, the US, and so I don't know what time. I know there's different time zones as well with him being so big of a country. I know everyone's on different times, so I do usually get a couple of people popping in saying hello while they're having breakfast, and it's just after 12 here, so it is good for me, but obviously unfortunately not good for everyone, which I do try and adjust and just change up the times every now and then, maybe a different day. Tuesday is the normal day that I do these, but I can always swap and change if you let me know in the comments section. And if you're watching this on the replay, then just drop me a comment, say hi, and let me know when you're likely to be online. It's just working out those best times is quite difficult. So just adding a few little, just roughing this up now. It's quite a rugged scene, which I really do like to paint. It's quite funny, you know, the way my paintings have changed. I know when I first started using watercolors, it used to always have to be like a beach scene, somewhere that you'd love to be. But I think over the years, practicing and doing lots of different paintings, I do like those grey skies, thundery skies, and you know, these places where you wouldn't want to be. So it's quite funny. I suppose your taste changes, like films, that sort of thing. Just as you get older and things change, you change your habits, or your taste just change, you know, it just is what it is. Now, I want some darker colour on the bottom parts of this painting, the bottom corners. So I'm gonna touch in a little bit of that indigo into the brown mix that I've already got, and just drop that in. You may hear that it's absolutely chucking it down. I think we've had about 3 or 4 days straight just rain, but it's not as cold. We've not had any snow yet, so I don't know whether we'll get it this year. We don't always get snow for Christmas. Sometimes it could be January, February, even March or April. The weather's sort of out of whack. It's not usually reliable if you're going out or anything like that. It could be sunny one minute and then stick around and it'll be raining the next. So that's what they say in this country: if you don't like the rain, then just hang on. Hang on and it'll get sunny shortly. Not always. Yeah, so just add in these darker tones now, and it does help your eye. It does invite your eye into the painting itself. Let me know what you think, if you think the same. If it brings your eye in, just getting some interest in texture and that sort of thing at the moment. So I'm not painting anything in particular, really. So, and I think I may plant a tree. This tree on top of this little ridge or mountain, whatever it may be. Just plant a little tree on there, and this can be a nice little detail. I'm not sure whether my paper's dry yet everywhere, but sometimes these trees, you can add these trees to point at something. If you've got a focal point in the painting, maybe you've got a little cottage or something like that in the mid sort of foreground, you can have these trees sort of bent over and point into the cottage. That's quite nice to do, and that just leads your eye into the scene quite nicely. And I think I'm going to give this tree a little friend here. Maybe this one's just a little bit tired and weathered and sort of bent over like that. But hopefully you can see that. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and if you've not seen my channel before, or if you're new, then consider subscribing. I'd love to have you on board. I'm building a really nice community and some fabulous people on here, so it'd be nice to have you on board. Drop me a comment, say hi, let me know where you're from. I'm going to pop another tree here, I think, and this is going to be a bit bigger because it's closer to us. I'm imagining us stood on this bit of a mountain, certainly elevated area, and looking down on this scene. And so I'm just making a little bit of a bigger tree now. As to foliage, I'm not sure whether to add any foliage to this these trees, but we'll figure that out as we go along. It doesn't really matter too much. There we go. And I want some dark coming. That is actually the branch, but I've made it into the mountain ridge. So I'm going to go along with that and just add a little bit of texture. I want to separate this sort of ridge to the one behind it. So let me go in with that. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that brown to this bit here, and hopefully you can see that translate into the painting. So I think I need a little bit of colour in the water area, so I'm just going to drag across and see. So you've got some things happening, just some light bouncing off the water. And with this being a rough paper, you can use a dry brush technique. You can hear the paintbrush as it runs out of paint. You get this nice noise as you're painting, and it just gives, because of the texture of the paper, you get these little sparkles, that sort of thing, which looks quite nice, and it gives that water effect, which is quite useful in your paintings. So I think I need to, I'm going to add another tree on this side. And this is really good for me because I want to practice the trees in painting. So for me, this is a good little practice as I paint. It's just one of those things that I haven't quite mastered. I want better trees. You might see this and think I'm okay at doing trees, but I think we've got to have something that we want to work on and improve. Not perfect by any means. Let me know what sort of things you want to improve on in your paintings. I'd love to know. And I can also do a video for you. And so you can see how quick, really, things begin to come together. They start sort of taking shape once you get through the ugly stage, or if you're not too sure about the painting, just keep going. And you can start seeing when things start coming together. It's quite exciting, really. And just adding a little bit of just all these sort of things happening. These trees or whatever they may be, just texture really at this point to bring your eye into the scene. And you may notice I'm not using too many colours either. Probably, let me see, I used a bit of a blue in the sky, a bit of Payne's grey, or no, it was indigo, wasn't it? So I used indigo, blue, and then I'm using a brown, I think a Van Dyke brown in the bottom, and that's pretty much all the colours that I've used. You don't really have to use a lot of colours to get a nice simple painting. It just makes things a little bit easier rather than mixing all these different colours. So I'm just wondering whether to add a little bit more colour. I'm not too sure at this point. Like I say, it's just all about making these decisions as you paint, thinking what would look nice and something that you could add. But I think I'm going to go in now. I'm just going to add some more little tones to these rocks just to help them stand out a little bit more. And like I said, this is really fun. So it's just nice to get these smaller details. And this is where you can fiddle around and get your smaller brushes and just little bits here and there. You don't have to go over the top. You don't have to do a lot. You're just using this to complement those highlights. So just here and there. You can always go in and cover some of those highlights if you're not happy with them, or if they're too light, if they're sort of too stark against the painting, then you can always go over them with a little light wash. I'll show you. So a little bit of just plain water. I've just dipped my pen. I've just dipped my brush into the water, and I'm just allowing that just to soften a few little areas. You can leave these really light bits if you want a bit of an emphasis on that. Let me move the camera for you. You can see just how these highlights are beginning to pop, and it is a really nice technique. So I do recommend trying this. It doesn't really matter what level you're at. If you've just started painting, maybe you've been painting for some time, maybe it's something that you've had experience in and you're sort of dabbling in and out of watercolor. Yeah, just I do have a whole playlist on beginners in watercolors. Let me move this camera again, try and get a bit of an angle. So yeah, maybe it's something that you haven't done for some time. You can always check out my other videos. I do like to paint simple scenes, and it's just lately I've beginning to do a little bit more detailed paintings in my sketchbooks, so you can always check out those as well here on my channel. I do have a playlist on sketchbooks, which I am a fan of, even going out, not in this weather, but going out and painting on location, which is always a really good experience. Sometimes you've got to be tough because it can be cold, and because you're sat in one place, you feel that cold even more. So I've been out, but not recently. So I think it's something I need to do. I think it's something that I really want to. So I'll probably will do that at some point. Obviously, it's more difficult when it's raining. So we're having some not too good weather. So he has to take a back foot for now. I'm going to give this tree on this side a little friend. I'm going to move you again over this side, and I'm just worried because I know sometimes it can pick up the jars, and my phone could focus on them, and the painting could be a little bit blurry. So I'm mindful of that. Just a little tree here, a little baby tree. And I don't know whether you can hear that rain now, but it is absolutely chucking it down. I think I'm going to use a bigger brush now, and I want a little bit of more cloud. I don't usually do this. I don't usually go into the sky once I've done it, but I just think this painting needs a little bit more darkness in the sky, just a little bit. I think the rain outside's encouraging this, but just a little bit here and there, bit of that indigo, really nice colour. If you have indigo, it's really nice to use. And I can leave it. I'm just getting a lot of movement, if you can see, in the sky. I'm just going to add a little bit of water and soften just a few of these edges as I do so. So I want some hard edges, some sharp edges, and some soft. So wherever you want the soft edges, all you got to do is use that clean water, your brush with a bit of clean water, and just tickle the edges and get that pigment moving, and it gives it that soft little blend. And then I'm happy to leave some as well, just to vary things up. If you look at sky, if you take time out and look at the sky, you'll know what I mean. You got all sorts of different shapes, and you got soft edges, you got hard edges, you got all these sort of things going on. So you want to try and include that in your painting, and yeah, just to make it gives it a little bit of life when you add these sort of things, and I'm thinking I may go with a little bit, yeah, let's go for a little bit of a alizarin crimson into that blue. This is a cobalt blue, and the indigo, so I'm just adding a little bit of crimson, alizarin crimson into that. So you'll see there's a little bit of purple now coming into the sky. I don't usually mess too much with the sky, just it's good to get it in one really, but I just think that this painting needed a little bit extra, and so don't be afraid of doing that. I know sometimes I am. It's hard to go back in. You're scared of ruining things. Just a little bit of water, and I've just squeezed my brush then, just to soften this little bit of an area. But I think because of time, I think that may be it. I think I might call this one done. Just bring the camera back a little bit so you can see the whole painting, hopefully. And just need to adjust the angle. There we go. And so I hope you like this one. Thank you so much for being here. I've not had too many people, but I am grateful for you popping in, saying hello. Thank you for the likes, and for those who will get round to watching the replay, please don't forget to leave your comments. Give me a like, share if you want. That's always nice when I see people sharing my videos. It's always nice to see. And that's it. So that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Just see if I can pop you up a little bit more. There we go. And that's it for this painting. And yeah, just a simple one today, quite short really. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.